everyone, and welcome back to Color the Magic and my frequency writer messages for November 2025. My name is Marie Mohler, and I'm an author, a creative spirit, and a messenger of living a rich, inspired, authentic, and abundant life as a divine creative hero or heroine in these ascension times. We are all feeling the potency of the frequencies on the planet, and I have prepared some special messages and topics and themes for you that I see coming through for November 2025. So I want to thank you for spending your time and joining me in this big picture review and this forecast for the frequencies that I see for the final quarter of this year. Knowers in November, vibrational echoes, remembering our soul mastery, the power of gnosis, quantum breathing and quantum co-creation, and ascending with peace and well-being. Isn't that what we all desire, is to be moving through these epic shifts in this way with peace and well-being, this kind of holistic sense of wholeness and things being in alignment and harmonious with our soul's path and also with the ascension path? Yeah, we're going to be talking about those themes today. And so I want to talk about the big picture review with you. Again, I'm going to spotlight this concept of knowers in November. We're going to talk a lot about gnosis today. And knowers in November and in this final quarter of the year, we're really being summoned and called into living beyond the movie, living beyond the theater, the illusions of the old paradigm and this 3D matrix that's falling away, right? There's a great potency and there's a great deal of empowerment, right? Some sovereignty when we rise and we claim the knowings that we know, that we have always known. So we're going to spotlight that today. There was the message of over in October that we discussed last month, right? I wonder if or how that showed up for you. How did you feel a sense of overness in October? Maybe you're over it. Maybe you're just over the games and gimmicks of the illusion, right? Of this serpentine matrix, this incarceration and the enslavement programs that we've been living in. There were many experiences of over in October and many ways that may have applied. I think we talked about possibly that the old 3D matrix was getting overwritten in October, and that means that the new paradigm is emerging that's rewriting the old files, the old code for the way that we've existed on this planet for so long. And that is what's setting us free. So there's many ways that over in October may have presented itself. And I'd be curious for you to drop a note in the comment section or on my Substack in the chat if you want to share some of your experiences. I'm also going to spotlight gnosis, this inner knowing, as an essential key to setting ourselves free. It's that divine empowerment. It's the essence of you. It's the essence of the truth and the light of who we really are. I'm going to keep talking about gnosis because I think it's so relevant and essential for these times. And essential has the core root word of essence. And we're getting back to our essence when we connect with our gnosis, our knowing. I prepared a brief message for Garden Insights number 7, a new day, navigating vibrational echoes to rise in the light of truth and to reclaim what our souls remember. And then we're going to review some insights as we gather at the river with Dr. Terry Cole Whitaker. We do that each month in these monthly energy updates. I'm going to be talking about vibrationally admitting ourselves to our optimal timelines amidst the gale force winds of distraction, dysfunction, and derailments. There's lots of soul tests going on that either we are summoning in or the archonic energies and agendas are summoning into our experiences, because the light is what feeds and fuels this 3D matrix. And it is siphoned off of us if we can be distracted, if we can be summoned into toxic relationships and conversations, dysfunctions, and all kinds of derailments. I'm sure you know in your own life, in your personal life, how that may present for you, but it's also happening on a global scale. So it is a massive, massive time of epic change, and we continue to be called to be more conscious about how we're vibrationally admitting ourselves into our optimal timelines amidst all that's swirling around us in the seas of vibrational soup that I used to talk about, right? It's very much applicable today. We're going to talk about conscious breathing to gift ourselves pauses, self-care and soul care in these times, to be able to respond and create rather than react. It's so vital right now to our well-being in these rapidly changing times as everything continues to amplify and accelerate and move at that quantum pace and speed of light and life. When we take a conscious breath, we step outside of that acceleration of frequencies where things can almost feel like they're spinning or they're moving too fast and we can't keep up. That's also the game of the 3D matrix. When you take a conscious breath and you tune into your heart center, you step outside of linear time and you step outside of time itself. It's a beautiful gift that we can give to ourselves. It's one of the easiest ways to engage in self-care, and it just takes a conscious moment, a conscious breath to put our attention on that breath and know deep within what we're gifting to ourselves, the gift to step outside of linear time and the games that are playing out and the swirls of energies. Very powerful. We're going to talk about quantum visioning, quantum creating, and quantum living. We're also going to talk about honoring the power of gnosis and the gift of clear soul sight amidst the haze and maze of an ascending world. I mean, that clear soul sight has been a message and theme that many of you who've been listening to me for a while, we talked about that in 2020 as in 2020 vision and the gift of clear soul sight and what that brings to our lives when we continue to honor the gifts of what's being offered to us and really what's coming through us, because clear soul sight is our natural divine state. We've just forgotten. We've gotten used to obscured vision or that spiritual amnesia where we can't see clearly. But what's awakening inside us as more light pours into this matrix and this old 3D paradigm that's being overwritten, right? And the new codes are coming in. We are being offered our clear soul sight for holistic well-being again. So very, very powerful. We're going to talk about honoring the divine feminine within and God's divine messengers, which include Sophia and Eve and Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene, Mother Earth, and many others. The divine feminine is the knower that knows within you. That's your gnosis. The divine feminine, which is your right brain, is connected to your heart center. And that's what's connected to the knowing of all time. And the knowing of all time trumps the illusions of this time, trumps the illusions of this particular age where humanity, had a great fall into this spiritual amnesia and this separation from source. But all we have to do is take a breath, step outside of linear time, tap into your conscious and clear soul sight, and tap into the inner knower within you that knows what you know that you know. And the divine feminine inside you is that knower. And lastly, we're going to talk about our alignment with our true essence, being a cosmic call and a key that Eve is summoning and seeding again within us. This is what opens and activates our eternal sovereignty, right? We're reclaiming that sense of freedom and sovereignty and expansion and expressing our talents. All of these things we may have been living to some degree, but largely has been suppressed within us because we've been living small, because the matrix itself has conditioned us to only know ourselves as being this small, finite servant to its agendas. We are so much bigger than that. We are so much bigger than that. So we are here to remember this together. We're going to be talking about being rememberers and knowers in November for this month and throughout the rest of the year. So before I begin some of these messages today, I wanted to take a deeper dive and a deeper look at who the knower is that the Gnostics especially spoke about, right? Who is the knower? The Gnostikos within. Who is the knower? It's the awakened spark of divine pluramic light within the human vessel, the direct experiential remembrance that you are not the body, psyche, or cosmos, but the eternal, uncreated self, the monadic one, emanating from the unknowable bythos, or depth. In the Gnostic Gospels, the knower is the one who has tasted the living water and seen the bridal chamber, no longer believing in salvation, but embodying it as the return of the exiled Sophia to the Pleroma. And that is from Gospel of Philip, the Valentinian exposition. I want to just take in that energy right there. The knower is the one who has tasted the living water and seen the bridal chamber, no longer believing in salvation, but embodying it as the return of the exiled Sophia to the Pleroma. That's just something to take a breath and really allow ourselves to feel. The exiled divine feminine, the exiled knower of knowings through all time, right? Our exiled beloved mother. We are all in this experience of this grand return, and that return is happening internally, vibrationally inside us. So just being aware that you are summoning in the knower within you. Something is activating in those key codes that Gnostikos is awakening inside you by simply your vibrational attention on the possibility that you are, in fact, this knower through time and could never not be, right? Core Gnostic markers are gnosis, which equals direct cognition, not faith. It's beyond faith. If faith is beyond belief, then direct cognition is beyond faith, right? It's an essence. It's an orientation. It's the everything and the allness inside your being. It's more than belief, and it's deeper than faith. It's direct knowing, direct cognition. It bypasses the demiurge's archonic illusions. When you know the knowings that you know through all time and space, in all of the true, absolute, beautiful, and gorgeous, expansive creation of the divine creator, you know beyond the enslavement programs of the 3D matrix and its paradigms and its illusions. So it bypasses the demiurge's archonic illusions. Direct knowing bypasses those illusions. And it reunites the sleeping spark with its source. That's us. Direct knowing reunites you with source. That's what all the soul songs that I create for you are about. That's what these conversations are sparking in you, is to activate that sleeping spark or that stirring spark or that emerging spark that wants to know itself again in union with source, in union with the mother. And I love this. The knower is the Pleroma remembering itself through you. Perhaps I need to do an entire message about the Pleroma. I'm also in my own journey of rediscovering a bigger picture of the creation story that I've known that I know within, but I haven't known through studying it. What that really is. What's that language that we've all forgotten? We're remembering the language of the soul. To me, that's also what sentience is. It's the language, the sound, the light of our souls. And the Pleroma is what we have all emanated from. Look at that light on the screen in this slide for those watching the video. That incredible, omniscient, expansive light. That is in many ways the essence of the Pleroma, but it has a bigger story than that. So maybe we'll focus on that in some other videos. But just feel that for a moment. The knower is the Pleroma, remembering itself through you. And that's also part of how Sophia returns from her exile, how Eve returns from the stories that we've heard to take her place in the true creation story of who they really are. Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene. There's so many characters who, in one way or another, have been villainized in this story of our fall from grace. I also believe deeply that they hold the keys to our return. They hold the keys to our gnosis. They hold the keys to us being the knower of the Pleroma remembering itself in us. So I'm going to keep talking about these Gnostic messages and the knower that knows, who has tasted the living water and seen the bridal chamber, no longer believing in salvation outside of ourselves, but embodying it as the return of the exiled Sophia to the Pleroma. That's us in the great return. That's you in the great return. You are in your grand return back to source, back to the pluramic light. It's beyond words what we're talking about here, at least in my experience. If you feel the words, if you don't just listen, but you feel these words, it is an extraordinary story that you are the character of your own story. And this is the story of your return to union with Source and union with the Pleroma, which is the all time, in all realms, all knowing, omniscient light. Okay, so we're going to switch gears for a minute and we're going to gather at the river with Dr. Terry Cole Whitaker. I pull some messages from her book, Dare to Be Great. This is just one of like 8 books that she wrote. You can hear a lot of these messages in her videos on YouTube. Her living teachings are still with us, and I find them relevant in these times. Dr. Terry was a knower that knew, who is uncovering her own inner gnosis, who is sharing what she learned in her journey. And it inspired a whole planet for many, many decades. And I'm so grateful that we still have these living teachings, this map of the breadcrumbs that she left for us. Okay, and so the first quote, Dr. Terry is talking about, there is no scarcity of love. God, the source of love, is always with me. And I am now aware of this endless flow of love coming from God to me. I am loved, and love is who I am. Many of you may remember that in my channeled messages over the years, right, when I was posting those messages, at least from 2016 and earlier than that in some of my books, there was always this essence that was coming from the higher realms of my spiritual team. And they would close out the messages by saying, you are loved, you are love, and they would send all their love, right? It was so abundant. It was so soothing. It was like infinite. There was a frequency that it was like this deep, divine breath. You are loved, you are love, and they sent all their love. And when I feel that, and then I reflect on what Dr. Terry was saying, there is no scarcity of love. God, the source of love, is always with us. And we can now be aware of this endless flow of love coming from God to us. We are loved, and love is who we are. What a great reminder in this now moment from Dr. Terry in this living teaching that she gifted to all of us. The second message that I wanted to share is self-acceptance is most important. No matter the distractions, the distortions, the dysfunctions, the derailments that are summoning our attention right now that may be accelerating or amplifying in our life experience, as the world is getting squeezed, as more light is pouring in, there's many triggers and stressors and potentially a sense of overwhelm that might pull us off course from breathing and knowing the knower within, the gnosis inside, the gnostikos, right? We need to remind ourselves, which Dr. Terry is reminding us in this quote, that self-acceptance is most important. Once I understood that some people would laugh at me, criticize, and reject me, I made peace with the fact. It is unrealistic to think anything else, and to do so only sets a person up for misery. Not knowing and accepting this one aspect of human nature has ruined many a life by preventing countless persons from expressing their God-given talents to the fullest. There's a theme in a lot of my work. I have a book series called Shine Your Light Books. And in the essence of shining our light, there is this inner essence of self-acceptance, because how can we shine as radiantly as we are divinely designed to be if we're not accepting who we really are? And so this is almost a meditation. You can see the sweet image on the screen for those watching the video with this woman with her hands over her heart. You know, you could just feel that divine feminine breathing, the knower that's in her heart center. And she's tapping into self-acceptance. She's tapping into love of self. She's tapping in and communing with self-love for who she really is. So that's really powerful. What Dr. Terry talks about is just letting go the people who will laugh, who will mock, who will reject, who will criticize and judge. All those essences, they're part of the 3D matrix. And some people are still playing those games, right? But we have to let those things go and tap into what's real. We have to tap into what's real inside us. Self-acceptance is part of allowing and communing with our inner knower. It's essential. Okay, I have two more quotes from Dr. Terry. She's talking about her friend and teacher Violet, that we referenced in some other months, where she revealed the teachings that Violet gave to her, and then Dr. Terry in turn passed that on to us through the works of her life. She says, Violet taught me to transcend fear by understanding fear to be what it is, a lack of faith in God. My fears behind me, I set out to let my light shine by becoming the new homecoming queen. Jumping right in, I got busy putting up posters and meeting everybody in school. Violet had said to treat others with love and appreciation. Genuinely finding something to admire about each person I met, I came to like everyone without exception. Getting to know as many students as possible was my public relations plan, and it was a good one. As it was the student body who elected the homecoming queen, this was a wise decision. Terry, in her book Dare to Be Great, has some stories about how she nominates herself to be the new homecoming queen. And I love all of her stories and anecdotes. But this is really beautiful because, again, if we go back to the squeezes of these times, the stressors that many of us are experiencing, the distractions, the dysfunctions, the derailments, the judgments, all of those things, her teacher taught her to transcend fear, fear of rejection, criticism, all of those things, all of those negative frequencies, by understanding fear to be what it is, a lack of faith in God, a lack of knowing God within, I would say, right? What a beautiful message from Terry. Okay, and the last quote from Dr. Terry is, some people give up right before the end because they would rather say, I quit, and think that they could have won than to have failed. I read an article that said that most quit right before they would have achieved the goal. Quitting doesn't really exist. At some point, there will be a similar situation and another opportunity either to quit or to continue on. Every time we give in to our fears and quit or refuse to enter the game, we have failed the test. The test is not whether or not you win the race, for there are many variables that are not under your control, but whether or not you were in the race and gave your all. There is no way to escape oneself or the lessons and challenges that each of us must conquer. Every person will find himself or herself in the very same spot again and again until the lesson has been learned. Our ascension lessons are here. We can't quit or escape them. We can't outrun them. There's nowhere we can go to get away from who we really are. And we can't really reclaim who we really are until we master the lessons we came to master. So in a reference, this quote from Dr. Terry, published in her book, Dare to Be Great, it's relevant in our time because no matter what, we can't refuse the call to learn our lessons, right? We need to enter the ascension process and the journey, the divine creative hero's journey, heroine's journey, to claim our lessons, to remember who we are, to allow the tasks that we must face in our heroes and heroines' journeys. That time is now. The ascension is only accelerating. So I find these reminders about quitting and giving up on ourselves or allowing others to derail us with their judgments and rejections and criticisms, right? We can be just like Dr. Terry, who nominated herself to be the new homecoming queen simply because she wanted to be. There was nothing in any way that said that she couldn't be. And so she stepped beyond all limitations and applied the teachings that Violet had given her. And she continued to do that throughout her life and her teachings, the living teachings that she's given to us so generously. I'm so grateful. And I feel her with us now. She's smiling, knowing that these teachings are still reaching the hearts of many. There's a lot of gems in her book, Dare to Be Great. It's one to check out. Okay, I have two more quotes taken from the book Life, Paint, and Passion by Michelle Cassot and Stuart Cubley. The first quote, this is all about creating. The book Life, Pain, and Passion is really to stimulate and ignite the spark inside you that you are an artist, you are a creative, you are the author of your life experiences. So in this quote, they say, pure creation does not suffer any limitation or frame. If you begin with an image, use it as a starting point only, inventing the rest of the painting as you go along. To create is to respond to the whole of life as it pushes through you. If you find yourself trying to reproduce what you see in your mind, ask yourself, what would I do if I were not afraid to be free? What would you do if you weren't afraid to be free? How would you be navigating and embracing and living fully in these ascension times if you were not afraid to be free? The artist faces this question whenever they put their paintbrush on the canvas. The writer faces this every time they put their pen to paper. The architect faces this every time they put their ideas out on their drafts and drawings, right? The teacher faces this every time they're composing and coordinating a class that they're going to teach. We are all creators. And so I find that that's a good question to ask ourselves. It's very simple, but it's very deep. What would I do if I were not afraid to be free? Powerful, beautiful, empowering message for these times. And the second message I pulled from Life, Paint, and Passion, they say to meet your passion, you must jump naked into the deep waters of the unknown. It is an act of love and trust. We're diving deep into these deep ascension waters. We're diving deep into the knowings of our soul. We're diving deep into remembering the pleroma of where we emanate from. We're diving deep to know ourselves through all time beyond the illusions and the entrapments of the 3D matrix and its games, right? It's being overwritten. There's an override process, right? The divine and all of the divine and galactic and cosmic and physical and non-physical helpers are all orchestrating this movement in to this new age of Aquarius, this new age of light, this age of transcendence, this age of emancipation, and this age of the fullness of your creative expression, your true self-expression, your authentic expression. So let's just read that one more time and let you marinate with that. To meet your passion, you must jump naked into the deep waters of the unknown. It is an act of love and trust. It is an act of love, trust, and inner knowing and allowing. It's all there inside us, all that you are, all the gifts that you've always had in any lifetime across all realms. It's all inside you. And this is a time of that deeper integration. But there's this allowing ourselves to jump nakedly into the deeper waters of who we really are, into the deeper light of who we really are, while we also have the world around us swirling all kinds of messages of limitation and scarcity and judgments and ridicule and fear of being different and lack. We are so much bigger than that. The truth is so much bigger than that. The absolute truth is so much bigger than that. We're simply remembering and knowing it again, right? Knowing it again is bringing it back into our experience and fortifying our union with Source. We are in the return. We are in the return and we are jumping into these deep waters, many of us. I know many of you listening to a message like this know about those deep waters. Okay, this next message, for those of you watching the video, you'll see it on the screen. For those of you listening to these messages today, will just follow my lead here. Some of you may be familiar with this autobiography in 5 short chapters by Portia Nelson that I've discussed before. But I'm going to review it today because it kept coming into my awareness. If Over in October kept coming into my awareness for October, this Knower in November kept coming into my awareness for this month. And simultaneously, this autobiography kept coming into my awareness that also wanted to have an elevated or expanded story to it. So I'm going to share right now the story as Portia Nelson wrote it. And then I'm going to share a kind of a Gnostic version or kind of a modern twist to it a little later. So, in this autobiography, in 5 short chapters, Portia Nelson says, 1. I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. But it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down another street. To me, this story relates to vibrational echoes, and I'm going to tie that together in my message, The Garden Insights for November 2025. But I just want to reflect on the story as it is, as told by Portia Nelson. How many of us have those living echoes of our lives, those recreated experiences, maybe with the same cast of characters over and over again? Portia Nelson might use the example, I walk down the street, but you might insert, I have that conversation with my husband, or I have that conversation with my son, or I have that conversation with my boss, or I have this relationship with my money and I fall in. I'm lost. I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. Insert your experiences, those recurring patterns in your life. That's what this autobiography in 5 short chapters means to me. It's our karmic patterning, right? It's our 3D patterning that we have not yet overwritten in chapters 1, 2, and 3 when we keep falling into the same pattern. We keep stepping into those same holes. We think at first, it's not my fault. It just keeps happening to me, right? And then by chapters 4 and 5 in our spiritual journeys, we start to see that we can walk down a different street. We don't have to have those conversations. We can change from the inside out. We can be the knower who knows from within, who walks around those relationships, who walks around those dynamics, who moves beyond those stories and those vibrational patterns in our lives, until we get to a point that we're just walking down a different street, until we get to a point where we're just having very beautiful new relationships and dynamics, where we get to this point where we are connected infinitely to the knower that knows within, which is why the cultivating that relationship with the inner knower is so vital now. It's why I believe the divine messengers of the divine feminine, Sophia and Eve and Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Mother Earth, and many, many other characters of women who have lived and walked this journey before. They are showing us the way and the path of the truth and the light, the grand return back to the garden, the grand return back to the pleroma. Our origins in the heart of source, right? The origins in the absolute truth of divine creation. So this story applies. It's not just walking down a street. You can insert any of the elements of your story where you keep walking down or walking into the same patterning that you've lived so many times. And just for those watching the screen and for those listening, there's images of a woman who's walking, who's about to step in the pothole. And then on the other side of the slide, eventually when she gets to the higher chapters of 4 and 5, and she walks around it, she walks through it, and she walks down another street, she's on a whole other path now. She's walking through nature. She's walking through the grass. She's walking in her sovereignty. She's walking in her knowing. That's a beautiful message that I wanted to apply here from that autobiography in 5 short chapters by Portia Nelson that applies in so many ways. It just kept coming to me, and I've been really resonating and reflecting on that late October, and I feel like it's walking with us into November. So I wanted to share that with you today. And now, as we're reflecting on that message of the autobiography in 5 short chapters, our karmic stories and patterns, the echoes that keep showing up in our life again and again. And you think, didn't I already deal with that? I thought I cleared that and released that. I thought I had a session with a therapist or a life coach or an energy worker, and I thought I cleared all that away, those cobwebs. Some of those patterns and layers on the layers of those patterns may still be with you. And so I'm going to talk about vibrational echoes in this message for Garden Insights number 7 for November 2025. Some of the themes are a new day, but in that a new day frequency, we're going to be talking about vibrational echoes and some insights that I dug into when I was preparing this message for November and it was coming through me. So let's have a listen to Garden Insights number 7 for November 2025. Greetings. Welcome back to the garden of new creation, soul remembrance, and expanding light. Today is a new day, a different day, a day of changes, unexpecteds, opportunities for recentering, invitations to vibrationally inhabit the newness and aliveness that each soul connected with Source and the Great Mother truly are. Awareness of the power of reinventing and reclaiming ourselves, and trusting that a way is always being made for deep soul seekers, timeless divine knowers, and embodiers of the truth of divine grace. Here we are in November 2025, passing through the 11-1 portal and then the sacred gateway of 11-11, where perhaps we will never look back again in the ways we once did, reflecting on the mirror the Matrix has shown to us again and again about the illusory qualities we think we are. No, November 2025 and its portals and gateways illuminate, to me, the real, the true, the untainted, the pureness of alchemical light that we all carry inside. November 2025 illuminates a special quality of gnosis, that which simply is. At the same time, all of this glorious light is expanding within and around us as willing, allowing, and masterful knowers remembering the truth of light and the light of truth. There is much swirling in ways that defy logic, cannot be explained through the linear mind's computations and understandings, and echoes of old events, memories, circumstances, players, actors, and characters in our stories that still require resolution on some level of our being. Are you experiencing significant vibrational echoes in your life in these times? Renewed or recreated experiences and awareness of a dot in the fabric of time that are seeking your mastery to set them free into the wonder of divine creation and wholeness again. And as I was preparing this message, these insights were coming through about what is a vibrational echo and how is this manifesting in our lives in these times. So I created some slides to take a deeper dive into that concept with wonder, with curiosity, to dive deeper into what a vibrational echo is. So our minds and our hearts can start to synergize and incorporate this awareness inside us, because I truly believe we are navigating a lot of these vibrational echoes in our lives right now as timelines converge. So I'll just say for the next few slides, and certainly for this whole video, it's for educational purposes only, but specifically for this review of the vibrational echo, because there's some suggestions in there of what we can do to manage and navigate our vibrational echoes in our lives right now. So let's first ask, what is a vibrational echo? A vibrational echo is the energetic resonance that lingers after an intense experience, emotional, relational, or spiritual. Think of it like throwing a stone into a pond. The initial splash, the event, is gone, but the ripples keep moving outward and eventually bounce back from the shore. In human terms, the stone equals a charged moment, a betrayal, ecstasy, trauma, deep love. You can feel the energies of that. The stone is a stone that's been thrown into a pond. It's the initial splash. The ripples are the frequency or the vibration that moment imprinted onto your energy field. Okay? The echo is when life circumstances recreate a similar frequency, pulling in people, places, or dynamics that match the original ripple. It's not random. Your subconscious, or your soul, if you prefer, is dialing the same radio station of that original experience until the song is fully heard, felt, and integrated. It's what Dr. Terry was saying in the earlier slide, that we are not going to be able to outrun our tasks. We can't just quit the journey, right? We can't say, okay, I give, I quit, I'm done, it's too hard. No, we will face the vibrational echoes that keep reverberating in these ripples with the different characters and places and energy dynamics that match the original ripple until the song, the lesson, the message, the integration is fully heard, felt, and known again inside us. Now, I wanted to differentiate between karmic echoes versus soul time echoes. Okay? And so when we're talking about karmic echoes, the source of those echoes is this lifetime or parallel soul threads, right? It's our patterning that we know well this lifetime. We see it again and again. The purpose of the karmic echo is we need to balance the unresolved energy. We need to complete a contract. So the signature of these karmic echoes may be a familiar pain or pattern or attraction, dressed up in new costumes or with new faces, right? Maybe it's different players, but it's the same pattern, it's the same pain, it's the same challenge. It's kind of a deja vu experience with stakes attached to it, right? Where there's barbs that we engage in those old patterns. Okay, and then the soul time echo, the source of that soul time echo may be past or parallel or future incarnations. A soul time echo involves kind of a multidimensional echo, right? The purpose is to retrieve fragmented soul aspects, which means as a Gnostic, as a knower, remembering who you are. And then the signature of a soul time echo may show up in places that feel like home that you've never visited. People who feel like old friends or soul family that you just met. It's a remembrance. There's this feeling of I resonate, I remember. If you remember some earlier videos I did a long time ago, there was this energy of resonance is remembrance. When we resonate with something, it's as if our soul self is saying, I know you, I remember you, I know this, right? That's kind of the signature, the energetic signature of a soul time echo. Now, both are mirrors, not punishments. These echoes are not punishments. They're here to show you where your energy is still hooked. Okay? Because if we're not hooked, we're not having those feelings of these painful patterns or this attraction to the same challenging dynamics again and again, right? We are learning from ourselves from the vibrational echoes. We are being given opportunities to do the vibrational redo, right? To engage the same pattern, but in a new way with higher awareness, because the knower within you that knows is emerging to assist you and partner with you, and the light and the truth inside you that knows beyond all these illusions and is helping you to extricate yourself and set yourself free. Vibrationally extrication and vibrational liberation. Okay, why echoes return? What's the mechanics, right? Why do they enter our experience? Number one, unintegrated charges. Any emotion that you suppressed, bypassed, or intellectualized stays in the body or the field as a frozen waveform. The universe, being very efficient, recycles the pattern until you thaw it out and basically release it. So number one in the mechanics of why echoes return is an unintegrated, unresolved, and released charge of energy or emotion. Number two, soul curriculum. Your higher self curated these echoes like a masterclass. The test repeats with higher difficulty until you pass with compassion instead of reaction, right? Until you pass with creation instead of reaction. Number 3, holographic resonance. Reality is a hall of mirrors. When you carry a frequency, for instance, I am unworthy, the hologram reflects characters who treat you as unworthy, not to hurt you, but to reveal the belief that's inside the pattern that keeps unfolding in your experience. It's very powerful, these mechanics, to understand these at a deeper level. Okay, so how do we resolve an echo holistically, right? How do we restore the wholeness and the harmony in our inner well-being, right? During ascension times, while we're being distracted, derailed, and there's dysfunctions, and there's all kinds of dynamics going on around us and within us. How do we resolve an echo in a step-by-step fashion? We first name the echo. We witness it. We might journal, this feels exactly like fill in the blank of the past event. This scenario reminds me of when, right? So the shorter phrase is, this feels exactly like, and you name the past event. The charge is in the body part, the place in your body where you feel the emotional and energetic charge. Where are you feeling it? Where are you feeling the charge of that echo? The story I tell is blank. Right? Fill in that blank. What is the story you tell yourself about how you feel about those past events and what's happening right now? And the story you tell yourself about the charge that you feel in your body. The story you tell yourself about how you're reacting, right? Speak it aloud to a mirror or an empty chair. That's just one option. Naming it collapses the illusion of newness. These echoes aren't new. They've been with us a long time, at least this lifetime, in the karmic echoes, or over lifetimes and across realms, which would be a soul time echo. Okay, number 2, feel the original wound, the somatic thaw. Place your hands on your body where you feel it. Maybe it's in your throat. Maybe it's in your gut or in your heart. Place your hands in that area and part of your body. Breathe into the sensation without the story. Right? Breathe, just consciously breathe into the feeling that's in your body without giving it all the story and all the animation of your story. You can ask, what age am I right now in that feeling, in that energy, right? How old are you when you're experiencing that in your throat or your gut or your heart or in your body? How old are you? Let the younger self cry or rage or grieve. It's important to not re-traumatize yourself. You're just holding your past self like a scared child. I see you. You're safe now. Remember the soul songs that I shared a few months back? It is safe to be me. Might be a good time to replay that playlist a little bit this month, or as you're moving through this, resolving these vibrational echoes. You're holding your past self like a scared child, simply saying, I see you. You're safe now. Number 3, you extract the soul gift. Every echo carries a diamond in the coal. You're asking, what strength did I forge here? For instance, if there was a betrayal, maybe I forged discernment. That's one example. What boundary did I learn? What love did I deepen? Write the gift in present tense. I am the one who, right? I am the one who transcended betrayal and claimed my discernment. I am the one who transcended fear when I claimed and embodied the fullness of my faith in my knowing, right? You can write the gift in the present tense. That's how also part of how you're extracting the gift and you're applying it. Number 4, you're rewriting the frequency. That's where you're pairing kind of the neural pathways of the grooves of your new patterning, right? And the energetics. So there's an embodiment practice you can engage. You can stand in a power pose. You speak the new truth aloud while moving. You dance, you shake, you walk, you tap it out. The body must feel the new vibration. You can engage in cord cutting, right? Many of you know about that as well. It's optional, but it's very potent to cut those cords. You can visualize silver cords to the old person, place, or dynamics of the pattern. You can say, I return your energy with love. I retrieve mine with gratitude. And you cut with imaginary scissors. You cut those cords and you fill the space with golden light. Okay, that's rewriting the frequency. That's the overwrite. It's over in October. We are overwriting those old frequencies. We are overwriting those old patterns. And then number 5, test the echo in real time. Next time the pattern appears, pause before reacting. Ask yourself this question, is this the echo or is this now? If it's an echo, you can say, oh, thank you for the reminder. I choose, and then fill in the blank of your new response. You could say, oh, thank you for the reminder. I choose faith and knowing and breath taken out of nature right now in this moment, right? That's the new me. This is the me I choose to be, right? Thank you, vibrational echo, for showing me my path of the truth of who I really am and what I choose to know about myself and what I choose to be. Then the echo dissolves when you respond from the future or your present self and not the wounded past. Can you feel that? We are all tasked with moving through these vibrational echoes. Okay, and so what happens when we do this? We're seeing the illusion for what it is. Here's an example of an illusion. This person is my soulmate, my twin flame. The truth is that they are a mirror soul reflecting an unhealed aspect. Or another illusion might be, I'm being punished. Right? If you're experiencing some kind of deep challenge or something doesn't seem to be going your way in that moment, the illusion and the feelings and emotional reactions might be, I'm being punished. The truth is you're being graduated from the old 3D matrix and those tethers and those unhealed aspects of yourself. Another illusion people might say to themselves, this will never end. The truth is it ends the moment you stop feeding it the old emotion. That's powerful. I had an experience years ago in a big trauma that I went through. And I remember asking Spirit and my guides when I first started learning about automatic handwriting for a direct connection with my soul self, for a direct connection with my counsel, all of the guides around me that were fortifying me in the journey and the tasks I had to face. I remember saying, when will the suffering end? And the answer that consistently came from within was, when you are ready, right? When you are ready. Here I have this understanding and this understanding really now as I really start to reclaim this Gnostic language, these Gnostic knowings that I've always known. That was such a Gnostic message from my soul when I was asking, when will the suffering end? And the answer from myself and my soul and my guides was given, when you are ready. Here's that illusion again. This will never end. That's what I was feeling in that time in some ways. And the truth was, it ended the moment I stopped feeding it the old emotion. When I didn't give it the emotion and when I didn't feed it with my reactivity and all the patterning of my neural pathways in my energy body that was holding all those frequencies, it faded away. It did release and clear when I was ready. Because I was ready when I no longer needed to feed it the old emotion because I understood the mechanism of the pathways inside me that were feeding it and keeping the suffering alive. Powerful. So here's a mantra to shatter illusions. This is not happening to me. It is happening through me for my remembering. You could also say, this is not happening to me. It is happening through me for my knowing. Beautiful. Okay, and this advanced, this is just optional, a soul time echo resolution. If the echo feels interlife, like across lifetimes, very multidimensional, like ancient temples or other eras and dimensions of time, you might try, number 1, regression breath work with a trained facilitator or self-guided meditation. You could ask if you feel like you wanted to try again, use your own discernment. This is for educational purposes only. But you could ask your soul self, show me the origin of this echo. Let images arise without forcing it. Or you can have an Akashic dialogue. Ask your past self, what did you need that you didn't receive? Give it now imaginally. Watch the timeline heal. And here's a third option, the symbol return. Okay, in the symbolic return, if a place keeps appearing, like Egypt or a medieval forest, draw or visit a representation. Leave a symbolic offering, a flower or a letter saying, I retrieve my power. The contract is complete. I am free. I am free. I am free. Right? How about something like that? Just an option if this resonates for you. And then lastly, I wanted to share that echoes are not curses. They are love letters from your soul in invisible ink. Feel that. Echoes are not curses. They are love letters from your soul in invisible ink. What do you need to see them? Soul sight. An allowance of the knower that knows within you. The moment you read them, those love letters from your soul in invisible ink, with the light of presence, they vanish, leaving only the expanded version of you. When the echo returns, whisper, old friend, I recognize you. Thank you for your persistence. This time I'll answer with wholeness and knowingness, right? And watch the ripple finally still. Watch those patterns come to balance, come to 0 point, come to wholeness inside yourself. Very, very powerful. So to round out Garden Insights number 7, talking all about vibrational echoes, what they are, the karmic echoes, the soul time echoes, the remedies for meetings for transcending and transfiguring those old echoes, those old patternings that still have hooks in our awareness. I wanted to share a few last thoughts. Many of us are witnessing profound vibrational echoes returning to our lived experiences in our heart's consciousness. I love tuning into the energies of awareness that echoes are not curses, but rather love letters from our souls in invisible ink. The garden inside us recognizes today's vibrational echoes as divinely orchestrated coordinates on our very own cosmic maps, as if to say you are here in the awareness of God, living beyond space and time, and having all of the powers needed to transcend the confines of the games, deceptions, and illusions of linear time. In other words, our vibrational echoes of fear, trauma, not enoughness, scarcity, uncertainty, and a state of chronic overwhelm and stress are invitations to consciously breathe beyond the echoes. Only in that sacred breathing, only in our willingness to access light and life beyond the confines of 3D control and repeating patterns, do we find the strength inside us to choose the light of love to guide us. Those love letters from our souls in invisible ink are here to expand us, to release us, to free us from multidimensional illusions and archonic patterns of karmic incarcerations and enslavement programs. The light of our unique present vanquishes the darkness of our grandest illusions and greatest fears, leaving only the expanded versions of who we are. November 2025 invites the light of our unique divine presence to embody our own love letters to ourselves, where we honor that we have traveled a long way and come full circle to say, you are perfect, you are light, you are gnosis, you are everything you have ever dreamed in your Sacred Heart Center's union with Source, and more, and more. Will you allow the stones, ripples, and the echoes in your own divine creative heroes and heroines' journey? What truths are they whispering? What awareness are they illuminating? Echoes are compasses and maps that lead to our sacred lanterns that have been lit within us all this time. We simply have to listen to the inner calls and embrace the expansive, timeless knowing that animates our service to Source, our love of the Great Mother, and our own beautiful feelings of alignment in all ways with the divine. Beautiful, isn't it? We can really marinate in this awareness of the frequencies of these vibrational echoes that we certainly are going through as a collective, right? As a sentient collective, the whole planet has vibrational echoes that we're transcending. But on a personal level, we can marinate in this awareness of the frequency of our vibrational echoes. They are not curses. Remember, they are love letters from your soul in invisible ink communicating with you the opportunity when you are ready to vanquish and vanish them, leaving only the expanded version of you. And you can say, as the echo returns, you simply whisper, "Old friend, I recognize you. Thank you for your persistence. This time I'll answer with wholeness." And allow yourself to be in the peace and the well-being you truly desire to feel in ascension times, and you will watch the ripple of those vibrational echoes finally still. Okay, and lastly, for part 1 of this video and for November 2025, I generated a new modern twist on Portia Nelson's autobiography in 5 short chapters, inspired by the soul's holographic hum, where old ripples return not as curses, but as invitations to remember, integrate, and retune ourselves. Chapter 1, I walk down the street of my life. A deep vibrational echo ripples up from the sidewalk, a charged wave from some forgotten stone I once threw. I fall in, lost in the familiar hum, helpless in its pull. It feels like fate's echo, not mine. It takes forever to surface, the frequency still buzzing in my bones. Chapter 2, I walk down the same street. The echo ripples again. A karmic waveform I swear I don't recognize. I pretend it's just static, a glitch in the now. I fall in harder. I can't believe the same resonance is calling me back. But it's not my signal, right? Still it drags on, the old hum looping like a skipped track. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. I see the ripple forming, the echo's telltale shimmer, mirroring that ancient wound. I fall in anyway. It's the habit of my unthawed field. Eyes wide, I feel the original charge, the stones splash, the soul's unfinished song. This time I own the frequency. It's mine to witness. I thaw it immediately with breath, with compassion, and I rise lighter. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. The echo ripples faintly now, a hologram testing my new tune. I pause and name it. Old friend, I see your illusion. Thank you for the mirror. I step around it, embodying the rewrite, gold light filling the void. The wave meets my wholeness and stills. No fall, just flow. Number 5. I walk down another street. No echoes chase me there. I retrieved the fragments, dissolved the loops. The air hums with fresh resonance. My soul's true frequency unhooked and free. Places feel like home I've always known. People like allies in the light. The ripples? They ripple outward now, calling in what matches my expansion. I'm not just walking. I'm vibrating home. We are vibrating home. We are in the time of the great return. We are in the time of claiming our grand and greatest light. We are in the time of knowing again who we really are. This is a time of vibrational echoes, the first kind that Portia Nelson speaks of in the autobiography in 5 short chapters of navigating 3D life and transcending it by raising our frequency and raising our awareness. But this new echoes in 5 vibrations, this modern twist, is really knowing that we're the knower, knowing that we're walking ourselves home vibrationally, and that we are vibrationally home the minute we are ready to choose to be there. It's a frequency destination. It's not a physical destination. It becomes a physical destination, but it starts always, always at the level of energy, at the level of frequency. And that frequency is our awareness. That frequency is our knowing. That frequency can be our prayer, that is who we are, That is who we are becoming, and that is who we are always divinely meant to be. Our divine living essence of the pleroma, an aspect of the pleroma in our lives in the now. I just put on the screen as I wrap up part 1. You can remember also another tool is the 1, 2, 3 quantum creation meditation that I have shared many times in these messages over the years. But very simply, if you're being triggered by a vibrational echo, you can take a conscious breath for the trigger. You breathe into the trigger, you witness and acknowledge it. Number 2, when you're ready, you take a conscious breath to move into sacred neutrality. You are cradled in God's grace. You are cradled in God and the Great Mother's hands. You are suspended in grace. You're in your heart center. You're taking conscious breaths there until you feel the breath of sacred neutrality fill your entire being. And number 3, when you're ready, you can take a conscious breath to move into conscious creation and co-creation with Source, where you can feel God and the Great Mother standing with you, sitting with you, with the question, what do you want to create in the very next breath? And in whatever you create and desire in that very next breath, you have completely released and transcended the original trigger. It's all through the breath. The breath is your partner in this transcendence. If you choose, if you resonate with this kind of meditation for yourself. Okay, this concludes part 1 for November 2025, and part 2 will include soul songs for the month, as well as my reflections on those soul songs and how they relate to the themes and topics we've already described and discussed today. And then we will bring all these messages around and close out the message for November 2025. So thank you for joining me for part 1 for November 2025. And I hope you'll continue with me and journey with me through the soul songs in part 2.